Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we are going to discuss a little bit about crates. I'm going to divide that video in two parts. The first one is why are crates necessary, at least in my opinion, and in the second part of the video, which tanks should we expect in crates and what errors we should try to avoid concerning those crates. So let's not lose too much time and jump directly into it, starting with the first point, aka why are crates necessary? If you've been around for at least 1, 2 or even 3 years on that game, you saw the community grow exponentially. World of Tanks Blitz is a game that goes really well. More and more people are joining, and to take a look at that you just have to see how fast new YouTubers are growing. We have a really good community for a mobile game, and even if we are not as big as, for example, Clash of Clans, Call of Duty Mobile, etc., we still have quite a strong and faithful community. Which implies that more and more people are subject to play the game, but also spend money and stay on it. And this is where Wargaming saw the opportunity of crates. Back in the days when we still had a small community, we had no place for crates because it was out of greediness that Wargaming implemented them. Simply because if they implement crates and without charms, because nowadays we have charms, we didn't have that back in the days. Without charms, you had to spend again and again and again in order for you to hope for a chance to get the tank of your dream. For those of you who are following my channel since I have 3k subs, you probably remember how I spent 200 euros on an AMX 30B the first time it was released without having it, and same for the FV 217, which is the Badger. Now, at least Wargaming increased a little bit our luck by putting charms in the game. So you have a maximum to spend to get the tank. But now that we have quite a lot of players, crates are becoming necessary, especially when it comes to broken tank. Just imagine tomorrow Wargaming releases the Smasher, let's take that example, or the Annihilator in crates. In crates, a lot of people will gamble. Wargaming will make money, but in the end, not everybody that gambled will get the Annihilator, which kind of regulates how broken tanks are being implemented into the game. Because the main problem of broken tanks is not the tank itself, it's having too much that destroys the matchmaking. Because broken tanks are part of the game, they are fun, and that's what, even if you don't like it, that's what keeps the game alive. If we didn't have Smasher, Annihilator, Centurion Action 10, Progetto 46, it would have been a long time since when I would have left the game. And even if those tanks are quite boring to face, they are hilarious to play with. And that's why they are really wanted. But the problem of wanted tanks is that if everybody has them, it's no longer useful. So Wargaming is regulating, it's like a market. Wargaming regulates the number of tanks they are implementing by putting them in crates. That way they can put stronger tanks, which is the case. The Smasher or the Annihilator are way better than any other tier 7 you can find. But by regulating the number of them you can find on the battlefield, they don't have to nerf them after. And this is why crates are important to keep the fun for pay-to-win players. I really want to insist on that fact. It's for pay-to-win players, because Wargaming is a company, they don't care about a free-to-play player. If you are free-to-play, you never spent a cent and you're playing the game every day, Wargaming couldn't care less about you because you're not bringing them money at all. You are not bringing money, therefore you are useless from a company's eyes, and from company perspective I should say. Whereas a pay-to-win player that spends money regularly in the game is what Wargaming is all about. And this is why crates are kind of necessary. So if we sum up, 3 things: we regulate the number of new premium tanks being implemented in the game that allows Wargaming to put fun tanks without having to fear too much that they would break the matchmaking. The second thing is that we will have the pleasure of spending more money, and therefore Wargaming will make more money. That will keep their investments high and that will allow them to run the game. And finally, it's for fun purpose. It's for to keep the excitement out of the game. When Wargaming is announcing a tank that you know is going to be broken, at least from my perspective, I'm really excited and I'm like, damn, when is that tank coming into the game? I really want to test it, you know? And this keeps the game alive. Now, let's talk about the second point. Now the real question is, what kind of tank should we expect in crates? And here the answer is pretty obvious. All the broken tanks that couldn't be sold in a regular bundle by fear of them completely destroying the matchmaking because of the numbers of players that would buy them. Otherwise, I don't think we should have tanks in crates. For example, the first time the Canoniac Panzer 105 was released, and the only time it was released, by the way, it came in crates. That tank is not worth being put in crates because it's not broken. It doesn't have that thing that makes it utterly broken and stupid to put in a direct bundle. For the Object 260, on the other hand, yes, most of you are thinking that the tank sucks and it's not worth it, but I still think it was a good idea from Wargaming to put it in crates due to how broken it is when played correctly. Now, what's the problem with crates and the solution? The solution is, let's say, it regulates the matchmaking. For example, if tomorrow Wargaming releases a Smasher at tier 10, it's obviously gonna come in crates because otherwise, first they're gonna make more money, but also it will allow them not to have too much on them on the battlefield due to how hard it would be to get the tank. And I think that's the purpose of crates nowadays. But I also have some spicy stories about crates where I think we can't hold responsible Wargaming for everything. For example, a subscriber of mine came to my DMs and told me, "Hey Pantoufleee, I watched some 260 replays and I truly love that tank. It looks awesome, etc. So I said, you know what, let's go. I want to buy it, so I'm gonna spend money and gamble. He got it on the 23rd crates, which implies that he spent at least 130 euros, maybe a little bit less if he went through Huawei or something like that. And he tested the tank. After testing the tank, he told me, "Man, this is an awful tank, I really hate it, and I just spent 130 euros for that tank," and he started insulting Wargaming. Sorry guys. He started insulting Wargaming, and I told him, "Man, why are you insulting Wargaming when it's your own fault? It's not like Wargaming put a gun on your head and said, 'Hey, gamble.' No, it's not working like that. It never works like that. You deliberately wanted to gamble, and you did. We can't hold Wargaming responsible for your spendings in the game." It's a little bit different when it comes to kits. I agree with you, but there is no possibility for Wargaming to regulate that. When you click on purchase, there is not something that detects if you are using the credit card of your parents, if you are if you are underage or not, etc. So I know a lot of people are upset about Wargaming for that, but it's not their problem. You can't do anything about that. This is a fact, and it will never change. So this is my little explanation on all those stuffs. I think rates are necessary to a certain point, and I'm also, even if I don't like them like every single other players, from an objective aspects, it's not only about money, it's also about regulation. But what's a shame is that if it comes in crates, it means that Wargaming already know that the tanks they're implementing are broken, and therefore they acknowledge that the tanks are really good and can't be sold for direct bundle, otherwise it would break the game. They have to do an in-between between the pleasure of free-to-play and the pleasure of pay-to-win. The pleasure of pay-to-win being playing broken tanks, the pleasure of free-to-play players still being competitive against those tanks that are utterly broken. If you agree with me, guys, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. If you disagree, tell me what you think about my little expose here in the comments. I would be glad to read you. And yeah, I think I'm gonna leave you here, guys. We're just gonna take a look at the mighty kill. If I remember correctly, we kill it by ramming. Yes, we did. The little kiss of death from the Object 260, and that's how you end a proper game. 7-3, 4 kills, and 3 for the other TVP, and then another ace tanker. So yeah,